Our first panelist is a former commander at Pakistan Navy War College, Lahore. He has spent 4 decades in Pakistan Navy and has served in various operational, staff, and administrative appointments. Please welcome Rear Admiral Naveed Ahmed Rizvi, Hilal-e-Imtiaz Military, on stage. Thank you, sir. Our second panelist is an experienced naval officer with a strong academic technical qualification with more than 30 years of experience in academic research, design, naval and strategic management environments. He is currently serving as Chief Executive Officer, Bahriya Classification Society, Karachi. Please join me in welcoming Commodore Dr. Saeed Khalid, retired Sitara-e-Imtiaz Military, to stage. He has joined us all the way from Karachi. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Our third panelist is Ms. Nudrat Pano. She is a maritime expert from Forman Christian College, University, Lahore. Ms. Nudrat Pano. The last panelist is a naval officer with the professional experience of holding key positions as Chairman, Karachi Port Trust, and General Manager Operations, Karachi Port Trust. So please welcome our guest, Rear Admiral Azhar Hayaz, Sitara-e-Imtiaz Military, Tamga-e-Imtiaz Military, to stage. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Over to you, Dr. Nuzhat Khan.
Thank you very much. I really feel so honored sitting with these very experienced and learned panelists. Just for a short brief of what we are talking about, the port and cities are really lifeline of any country. This is vital for any economical development. Without port, without sea, there is no economical activities. Trust me, if you ask with the landlocked countries, they know what the importance of ocean and the trade and the connectivity around the world. We are blessed with 1,000-kilometer coastline connecting around the globe. And it is vital for our trade and culture trade also. So this is world over, today's topic is sustainable port and shipping and trade corridors. This is really time of the need. It's a topic of the day, or maybe topic of this century. What is the sustainability? Sustainability, as we learn, most probably is last decades is very much is a buzzword of sustainability. Means sustainability of this planet, not just port and country. This is sustainability of this planet, sustainability of the businesses, sustainability of the environment which we are living in. The shipping industry contributing more than 80% of trade all around the world. That means it's a backbone of all economical activities around the globe. Together with these economical activities, it is also contributing 3% on global carbon emissions. This is much. So this is the agenda for Sustainable Agenda 2050. So similarly, the IMO also set up a benchmark. We have to reduce our emissions by ships or ship-related activities by 50% by 2050. That means not much time left. We need to innovate what we are doing. So my simple question from my panelist. This is for anybody and everybody around, but we can start it from there to here. There are some policies and regulations. Do we have, or do we need some more green shipping, sustainable shipping regulation mechanism in Pakistan? If not, what kind of regulation we need it? Sir,
thank you, ma'am. The environmental issues are a prime concern in the port as well as the shipping and a challenging area, a really challenging area. Having worked in the Karachi port for about 6 years, I'm aware of the demands of meeting modern standards of cleanliness, modern standards of health and safety, vis-a-vis the environmental degradation that is thrust upon the port by a massive city of Karachi itself, for example. The question was about regulations. Yes, all rules, regulations are in place for the port. If I may talk about the ports first, to ensure that the visiting ships meet the criteria, they are inspected, they are checked for not disposing of the litter overboard. Their engines should be worthy enough not to release excessive carbon or smoke in the area for which they are penalized. So the rules are there, as well as the penalties are enforced on the shipping, those that violate the standards of specified standards of the port.
Why I am interested in before asking any other questions, because we need to define a framework. Do we have a framework to work for? So initially we need to define one important thing just to create a framework for that. And the regulation and rules are the prime thing to make it to go further. May I ask you for that, the framework which we have it? And just a crisp answer, or if we don't, what kind of, just a suggestion, we need to have this kind of framework.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The framework and the regulations regarding the marine environment, shipping and ports, they are already well placed. They are being dictated by the IMO, International Maritime Organization, for all the seagoing vessels and the ports. The vessel itself, they also undergo different audits like ISPS, ISM, as dictated by the IMO, and the ports also goes the same. In our country, there are some things unfortunate, I should say, like we have the Maritime Shipping Ordinance 2001, and that is intact till today. And after that, they have not made any amendment into that. And internationally, basically, after 2001, many things have happened. Like for the classification societies, they have developed some standards, and they have given the IMO code for the classification societies. They should adopt that code, and they should perform those functions to ensure the safety of the ship at sea and the ports itself as well. But in MSO 2001, what we have in hand, they have not incorporated this thing, this IMO code. Instead, in 2001, they have to create MMD, one department, and MoMA. In that, they have just, that MSO is moving around that thing. So, basic point is this: all the regulations, all the policies are there internationally. On the national level, I don't know how long it will take to incorporate in our law. If those things are not in our law, like for example, in MSO 2001, they have the Marpol Convention, and even they have not integrated into that the SOLAS Convention, load line, tonnage, those conventions are not integrated into the MSO. So when you go to the ministry that they want to perform these functions, they say, we will follow the MSO. And they are not following the IMO code, which has dictated very well that if somebody wants to perform those certification kind of function in the country on the ships or on the port, they have given in very detail. So these are the things I want to say, that things are there, but I don't know at what level, who should understand, and nobody is, I think, willing to learn the things. Even if you teach them, they think, okay.
The students are there, and they need to focus on the research, the need-based, demand-driven research. The outcome from this all conversation, I can put up few thesis-based title. You can conduct this research for upcoming future. It may be turned up in a policy or maybe some regulation recommendations. So that's the reason we are discussing. Every question is like a one thesis title. That's the reason behind it, why I'm asking this question, what is needed be. So, Rezi Saab.
If you allow me, can I add something?
अभी हम फिर वापस
Okay, no problem.
Rezi Saab, can you answer how can government collaborate with the stakeholder in the shipping sector for like maybe infrastructure development, maybe capacity building development, maybe regulation development? What can we do, and how this government can collaborate with different stakeholders for doing that?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. I think before grappling the difficult questions, there is a requirement first to have very basic understanding
Yes.
of what are we talking about. I have heard the speakers, my fellow colleagues, going into greater depths and details about sustainable ports and what are the sea corridors and also the hinterland. Now we must understand there is something like a culture. So the culture for a seafaring nation, for a maritime nation, is not there, unfortunately, for Pakistan. We have been more towards green economy. Farmer is the center point, and that is how the economy is going. So we have very little understanding and knowledge about the blue economy or what benefits we can take from the sea. So at your level, especially for the students that I am addressing, the basic point is to have an awareness and understanding of what is blue economy, what is sea. Then there are bigger questions. How are the frameworks, regulations put into place? Now you see, there is a culture, unfortunately, in our country. You will find disposable or litter boxes everywhere, but which are hardly used. So we would like to litter everywhere other than those boxes. So this is the culture. So we have to fight and change that culture. So blue economy, sustainable ports, all those goals, they are a big difficult thing. But first we should have basic understanding. How can we improve our efficiency of the ports? हमारे पास 3 ports हैं major, Karachi, Gwadar, bin Qasim. Gwadar, unfortunately, for so many reasons, is not operational or optimized to that level, जहाँ पे the traffic inflows and outflows are matching our requirement from that particular port. Rest, Karachi and bin Qasim are good ports and they are performing well. Now to make them more sustainable and more beneficial, there are certain actions required. उसमें जो most important चीज़ है, as a businessman or a shipping, जो इन्होंने मुझसे सवाल किया कि वो क्या incentives होंगे जो हुकूमत को देने चाहिए to improve upon our output from the ports. तो वो करने के लिए देखें, businessman thinks in term of time. वो जा रहा है, अपनी सामान लेकर आना है उसने, So that turnaround time in a port is important, so that if a ship comes, in the minimum possible time, he should disembark his goods, take those goods from which are to be taken from here, and proceed for onward, next port. Now, जो उसने वहाँ पे जब आना है, तो उसने there has to be a skilled force to handle it. तो आपको उस तरह की एक वर्क फोर्स रिक्वायर्ड है, डिजिटाइजेशन रिक्वायर्ड है, ऑटोमेशन रिक्वायर्ड है टू मेक ऑल दिस हैपन. तो ये एक बहुत इंटरकनेक्टेड चीज़ें हैं जिनको हमें मेरे ख्याल में बहुत ज़्यादा गौर से देखकर उन छोटे छोटे सेगमेंट्स को इम्प्रूव करने की ज़रूरत है. एंड दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द एफर्ट. And my special thanks to Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shehzad, because of his being part of Navy, we are sitting in Lahore and talking about blue ports and sustainable ports and all this. So this is important that you people should be aware. And I'm sure, inshallah, even if one of you goes to the decision-making places, they would be able to understand what is required out of us. Thank you.
This is a panel discussion, and we assume there are technical sessions for blue economy, promotions, introduction. Mr. Ali Abbas Saab Commodore and me and few other presenters, and the morning session. So we already discussed on blue economy potential. So we don't want to repeat these again because it's already been discussed. And there is a focused panel discussion on sustainable shipping. What can we do? How can we move forward? What are the missing areas? What need to be promoted for the students? They must have something to take home. They are learning, but there are some messages where they can go and work in future. That is very important. I may ask another one question. We were talking about the policies, and has to be some innovations. As in the presenter, I don't want to repeat what kind of sustainable port we needed. This has already been spoken in very detail. So there are many problems. Port means it's the entire city. The Karachi is a port city. 2 ports are there. There's a lot of problems, lot of incentives, lot of businesses are there. The problem with the challenges and with the opportunities also. What kind of innovation is required for decarbonization? What kind of innovations we needed? Especially look at the students and what the new topics for them.
Okay, I would like to make a little explanation over here. Basically, किसी भी project में हमेशा हमारे कुछ short term goals होते हैं, कुछ middle terms target goals होते हैं और कुछ long term goals होते हैं. ठीक है, जैसे डॉक्टर नुसरत ने कहा कि it is going to be the century, the maritime century. So if it is going to be the maritime century, तो evolution तो बहुत great होना चाहिए ना, widespread होना चाहिए. It should be spread to the whole society. To my humble understanding, आने वाला जो time है, that is going to be of socio-cultural imperialism and socio-cultural interactions and wars. Any culture that is not prepared to harbor sustainable goals is going to be depleted or be taken up by the those cultures who are working in this particular field. Coming to Pakistan, what I feel is a gap in policy making is, and we need a framework to really work on to, is the educational policy that is targeting every single corner of our society, from the students of the small classes. मतलब उनकी maritime affairs क्या हैं, maritime development क्या है, sustainability क्या है, what is go green, what are requirements for these, what is the link between the inland water systems and the seas. इन सब के awareness के लिए उनकी किताबों में छोटी छोटी कहानियाँ होनी चाहिए. इसी तरह से हमारे जो education institutions हैं उनके अंदर river engineering and marine engineering के departments होने चाहिए, which is really needed. We need to look into the example of America, how with the capacity calculation of Mississippi River, they started building onto their technical and their scientific intellectual capital development, and they started with different forms of marine and river engineering, academic policy, decision makings, frameworks, and they have developed a pool of intellectual capital that is not only elite centered, it is from the grassroots level. मतलब एक motivation होनी चाहिए, और वो motivation बिल्कुल small level से start होनी चाहिए, and that can be a long-term goal. It can be a goal that can take like maybe 25 years or 50 years, because we can see computers आए 1990s में, इससे भी पहले थे, लेकिन as an education सिस्टम के अंदर ये आते हैं 1990s में, एंड दे टुक ओवर बाय द ईयर ऑफ 2007, जब हमें हर तरफ टेक्नोलॉजी, मोबाइल एंड फोन, स्मार्टफोन्स हर तरफ नज़र आने शुरू हो गए थे. सो इट मिनिमम इसका जो स्पैन है वो 25 ईयर्स का होगा, और मैक्सिमम इट कैन बी लाइक सेंचुरी. वी नीड टू रियली इन्वेस्ट इन टू दिस एरिया, एंड देयर इज मच पोटेंशियल दैट वी कैन वर्क ऑन टू.
I would take this opportunity to elaborate a little further about the innovation that she has asked. We all carry smartphones. Smart cities का भी concept है. So what do you understand by smart? Smart means that it is giving you optimized output. तो उसके लिए आपको फिर smart infrastructure होना चाहिए. आपके पास smart traffic inflows, outflows के system होने चाहिए. I'll explain, give me some time. अच्छा, what do we understand by smart? अच्छा, इसमें फिर then you have to understand that things are being digitized. Computer literates are required. There is a better understanding of supply chain management. Once you have understanding of these things, then you will be called as a smart port. A smart port would be able to deliver in the minimum possible time, as I said earlier, कि वहाँ से किसी ship का turn around time minimal होगा, उसमें से maximum tonnage का सामान उतर रहा होगा और maximum tonnage का सामान चढ़ रहा होगा, to put it in layman terms. So that is the kind of thing which will be required from a smart port. Is that okay?
Ma'am, if excuse me, I am here.
Yeah, sure.
Without you asking another
Yeah, sure,
question. देखें, Pakistan is signatory to IMO convention, International Maritime Organization. उसमें आगे डिस्कस हुआ. One is MARPOL convention, Marine Pollution Control. We are signatories to that, and we are. It's compulsory upon us to follow the standards laid down under the Marine Pollution Control MARPOL Convention. उसके लिए हम एक्सरसाइजेज भी करते हैं सी में, ऑयल स्पिल वगैरह, ऑल दीज काउंट्स. सेकंड इज़ द सेफ्टी ऑफ लाइफ एट सी, सोलास कन्वेंशन. थर्ड वन यानी ऑल सी गोइंग शिप्स शुड कैरी लाइफ सेविंग इक्विपमेंट विच आर फंक्शनल एट ऑल टाइम्स. कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो आप उसको टैकल कर सकें. क्रू के बारे में STCW कन्वेंशन ट्रेनिंग के बारे में कवर करती है. एनी वन हु इज़ हैंडलिंग शिप्स हैज़ टू क्वालिफाई सर्टन स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ क्वालिफिकेशन. तो वो भी हम फॉलो कर रहे हैं. जहाँ इन्होंने बात की कि स्मार्ट पोर्ट, जितने हमारे टर्मिनल्स हैं, कराची इंटरनेशनल कंटेनर टर्मिनल, कराची गेटवे टर्मिनल नाउ, पहले PICT था, साउथ एशिया पोर्ट टर्मिनल, ये फॉरेनर्स की साथ हमारी कोलैबोरेशन है. तो उनके दे आर बेसिकली ऑपरेटर्स. कराची पोर्ट इज़, और पोर्ट कासिम फॉर दैट मैटर, आर लैंडलॉर्ड पोर्ट्स, एंड दीज कंटेनर टर्मिनल्स ऑलरेडी एम्बॉडी द एक्सीलेंट स्टैंडर्ड्स जो हमें चाहिए. दुनिया में कोई भी स्टैंडर्ड है, क्योंकि उन्हीं की those who own and operate these container terminals also operate terminals elsewhere in the world. Abu Dhabi Group है या इधर सिंगापुर में था गवादर पोर्ट. So they are already delivering the excellent standards of loading, unloading, connectivity of the loading mechanism as well as the requirements of the ship. Problem कहाँ आ रही है? On the one hand you have state-of-the-art container terminal. On the other hand, we have rudimentary standards of cleanliness या pollution. जो बात हो रही थी मैडम ने कहा कि we need to educate our people. Every industry in Karachi has to ensure that the effluent is treated before it is dumped into the drains. वो standard meet नहीं हो रहे. कराची का domestic wastage जो है वो properly treat नहीं होता. Result क्या है? All combined, industrial as well as domestic, waste is dumped into the sea to the order of something like 600 million gallons per day. और ये कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं है कि जो हम नहीं सही कर सकते. रिवर टेम्स लंदन में यूज्ड टू बी अ गंदा नाला. दे डिसाइडेड ओवरनाइट दैट वी नीड टू लिव फॉर आवर posterity and clean it up. River Thames is clean. बॉस्फोरस टर्की के पास देख लें, उनका एक पूरा सिस्टम है कि कोई गंदा पानी सूएज उसमें समंदर में नहीं जाए. तो आई फुली एग्री विद ऑल दी पैनलिस्ट डिस्कशन ऑन वेरियस सेगमेंट्स रिगार्डिंग एजुकेशन, एनफोर्समेंट ऑफ लॉज. लॉज हैं, ये नहीं कह सकते कि लॉ एग्जिस्ट नहीं करते. उनको हम वायोलेट किस तरह करते हैं फैक्ट्री में कि जी मेरा फिल्ट्रेशन प्लांट अगर नहीं काम कर रहा, हाउ आई विल फाइंड अ वे अराउंड इट to get the certificate is unfortunately the loophole. What are the modern standards are available to us? We can see them, we need to match them. By our education, educating the society, penalizing the defaulters, उनको जो गलत करते हैं उन पर फाइन करें, एजुकेट करें, उसके बेनिफिट्स बताएं लोगों को कि ये मछली कराची की जो है जो आप खा रहे हैं, मे बी इट इज़ कंटेनिंग arsenic and harmful components जो आपकी सेहत के लिए ठीक नहीं. Is one example. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Very interestingly, and everybody is putting light on the regulations. My perspective is slightly changed. That's the reason I asked the question. There is no C standards are there. There are regulations for industries, but we all of us knows the regulation implementation in Pakistan. My humble request with Nima and Dr. Shahzad, just try and build some standards, especially for oceans. There is no standard for oceans. There are standards for industries, but oceans are really lacking. We need to develop our own standard for that. And similarly, if you said that there is a pollutions are there, pollutions are in a very restricted environment. The Gwadar still is very clean and pristine. We need to create a standard and do the baseline studies for that. Unless and until we have a baseline study, we can't claim our area is clean. So my repeated humble request to all these authorities, do conduct a baseline study for Gwadar, especially for Balochistan. The CPAC is coming, which is not coming right now, but the pollution is, if you go and visit Gwadar, there's all filthy waste are there on the beaches. Beaches are getting filthy and not, we can't say polluted by the industries, but the domestic waste are all over. So my humble request with the academic institution, please do conduct baseline studies, especially NEMA and Wahaj University. And many more universities, those who are listening on the online, please do that. I've been repeating, there was one EPA in Balochistan. I had a discussion with his Director General. He was agreed to install an environmental monitoring stations along the Gwadar coast. Karachi, we already polluted. But Gwadar and Balochistan is still very clean and pristine. We need to take an initiative for that. And from this opportunity, I repeatedly say once again, please do take an initiative and do that. Another humble question. It's just I'm asking not just to panelists, for all of you as well, just as creating an awareness and education, especially for students and academic, and the faculty as well. how can we balance the development and the environmental legislation? What's the key? A small, crisp answer, so we can discuss more on that. So कैसे balance करें, development भी हो और environment जो है वो sustain भी हो.
Now in the world, actually, everybody is going to green energies for the sustainability and for the environment protection. And as far as already told, the ships are under the convention of MARPOL, and the classification societies and the implementing bodies are there internationally. They are not letting any ship to make the pollution in the ports. Their
So वो
pollution.
mechanism क्या होगा जहाँ balance किया जाए?
Look, as Admiral Azhar has told us that the terminals are private owned, right? And they are maintaining their standards because they are operating not terminal in Pakistan, they are operating the terminal internationally as well. So they know how to maintain the terminal, how to manage it. So the development, everything we think that government has to do. It is not like this. The government has to just ask the people, the terminal owner should maintain the things. So it is not only the government's responsibility. I am also of the same point of view that most of the terminals, they are owned privately and they are following the international standards, right? So its focus is not that we should develop the terminal like this. We know internationally things are going on, automation, digitization, right? And they are managing berth allocations well in time. They are reducing the anchorage time. They are managing the things. The pollution is coming from the land. So how to control that, right? And for that development, we don't know, it's not only the marine issue. This is basically the civic issue, how to control that. And for the development of the ports are operating under the rules, under the regulations, and they are well defined. There are continuously conferences held internationally. IMO is regulating those things, and things are managed at the port, on the ship. The ship cannot make the pollution in the port because they have to dump everything outside in the open sea. They cannot bring any pollution inside the port, especially the merchant shipping. They are not allowed. Right.
बड़ा क्रिटिकल क्वेश्चन है कि डेवलपमेंट भी हो और उसके इसमें एक बैलेंस हो जिसके साथ साथ आपकी बाकी एज ही इज़ ऑल्सो मैंशनड आई थिंक जब पोर्ट्स के पास ज़्यादा कार्गो होगा हैंडल करने का, देयर विल बी अ डेवलपमेंट हुई ना, तो उसके साथ जो फ्रेमवर्क है, जो आपके लॉज हैं, जैसे एडमिरल अज़हर ने कहा कि दे एग्जिस्ट, उनकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं हो रही. सो दैट नीड्स टू बी स्पेशली इन द टर्म्स ऑफ मरीन पोल्यूशन. तो उसको करने के लिए इम्प्लीमेंट, आई थिंक दोज लॉज आर टू बी फॉलोड वेरी स्ट्रिक्टली. एक तो ये बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है. फिर जब आप ये चीज़ देख रहे हैं कि हम इंक्रीज़ करेंगे अपना वॉल्यूम ऑफ ट्रेड, so there will be more pollution, more ships coming in. So those ships would require energy, जो fueling की sense में होगा. तो वो alternate energy, to providing that alternate energy to those ships would be another important thing to reduce those emissions जिसकी पहले जिक्र हुआ. और उस तरह यानी कि डेवलपमेंट भी है और आपको जो challenges हैं उनका भी ख्याल रखना पड़ेगा.
Assalamu alaikum ji. Thank you for asking that question. I think that we have to develop communities first, and ownership of land is the most important thing. From a technical point of view, you can say that we have to develop eco-centric approach in order to develop these ports and these areas related to special economic zones. If we are developing that, we have to consider there are two ways. One is technocentric approach, another is ecocentric approach. So we have to follow ecocentric approach, and in that regard, we have to give importance to the communities. So community over there, Gwadar was a small shipping village. Now it is turned into a beautiful city, but the ownership of land is very important. Who is living there? People have built mansions over there, but they are not owning that land. They're not living over there. And the people who are living there, their situation is still very bleak. The local people living over there, their roads are, their small streets are still there. There is a pavement with the port, but as far as I have visited, as a member of First Marsu, I have visited Gwadar back in 2017. It's a long time ago. I don't know what is the situation now, but at that time, there was no water on the third floor of PC Hotel. So water, basic necessity of life is not there. So आप तब बात करें green की और उसकी जब आपके पास basic आपने facilities भी दी हो. So we need development as side by side. We have to educate the people who are going there, the people who are migrating over there, developing that port. That small community should be educated, should be given more awareness, and that region, it's very easy to transform Gwadar into a green city as compared to Karachi. It's a big city, they have lots of other problems. It's a small city, so we have to think on sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Commodore Amjad, I'm retired Commodore, and I was the Director Maritime Affairs at Naval Headquarters way back in 2003. So asking you a pertinent question that how can you have a development at the same time you want to control these things, keeping the international laws or international regulations in mind. I think it's a very interesting question, and it is a tough question. I think we got this answer in the morning session when Barrister Nudat, I think, and that gave me really also a trigger, because as a Director Maritime Affairs, when I read the maritime, those LEQs which we enforce, the law which we enforce in Pakistan, and they were really, really surprising to me. What we did was, we took all those laws which were there enforced in America, we took them and we just enforced them in Pakistan. And that is one of the main reasons. What happened was, all the industrialists, they cannot afford, they cannot really compete the world, because they have to spend so much of money to follow those laws. I think what we need to do, as she said in the morning, we should also stand up and we say what is good for us, keeping those international laws as a bigger forum, and what is good for us and what we can afford, we should follow those for those industries. If those industries are at least following 50% of that, you are still achieving something out of it. Otherwise, what would happen, what is happening in those loopholes which he is talking, that they just pay to bribe somebody and get the certificate and say, we are not polluting at all. So we have to find out what is good for us. This is what my point.
So I would concur with Sir Amjad, because Adam Smith का जो economics का law है, to develop your natural resources, that it comes in here. यहाँ पे इसकी intervention है. आपको अपने जो natural resources हैं उनको develop करने की ज़रूरत है. हमारे पास बहुत अच्छा जो है वो water spread है. हमारे पास जो water channels हैं, हमारे rivers हैं, उनका एक spread है. उनकी further channelization हम कर सकते हैं, that we can develop through river engineering, developing experts and technicians in river engineering. Coming to your particular question, how we can draw a balance or make a choice between development and sustainability and go green sustainability. It's a very difficult question, because the byproduct of your economic development is garbage. We need to really put in our efforts. ये प्रोजेक्टाइज इन्वायरमेंट है पूरी दुनिया का. एक सेंचुरी से, जब से इकोनॉमिक इम्पेरियलिज्म आया है, प्रोजेक्टाइज इन्वायरमेंट में काम हो रहा है. और इस प्रोजेक्टाइज इन्वायरमेंट के अंदर वी नीड टू मेक वेरी केयरफुल सेलेक्शंस. मैरीटाइम डोमेन एक ऐसा डोमेन है जिसमें अभी हमारे पास बहुत स्पेस है, हम बहुत काम कर सकते हैं, हम अपनी मर्जी से काम कर सकते हैं. कॉन्ट्रारी टू दैट, जो हमारे पास डिफरेंट डोमेन्स ऑलरेडी जिनमें बहुत काम हो चुका है, वहाँ पे सेचुरेशन है, वहाँ पे चेंज लाना भी मुश्किल है. सो in this particular domain, making careful selections of the projects when it comes to production, कि हमने क्या लेना है, that should be in balance with our natural capacities. We need to learn what we are what is our land is really capable of. और इस चीज़ का बहुत गैप है, बिकॉज हमने एक आइडियल, हमने बेंचमार्क सेट किया हुआ है, जैसे सर ने कहा कि अमेरिका, हम वहाँ से चीज़ उठाते हैं, यहाँ इम्प्लीमेंट कर देते हैं, उसकी प्रैक्टिकलिटी यहाँ होती नहीं है, एनवायरमेंटली, टोपोलॉजिकली, जियोलॉजिकली नहीं होती है. सो दैट इज़ वाई दोज प्रोजेक्ट्स फेल ओवर हेयर. ठीक है, अमेरिका में कार्बन इमिशंस या जो इंडस्ट्री का क्योटो प्रोटोकॉल है वो डिफरेंट है. आपने कभी गौर किया है कि सर्दियों में हमारे यहाँ पे स्मोक क्यों होता है? क्योंकि ठंडी हवा में ज़्यादा जल्दी जो है पोल्यूशन ठहरता है. ठीक है, और वो हमारी विजन को हिंडर करता है. हमारे पास दिसंबर और जनवरी होती हैं और हम उसमें परेशान हो जाते हैं. देयर इन्वायरमेंट इज़ कोल्ड, नॉर्थ, ग्लोबल नॉर्थ, दे कैन नॉट बेयर the production burden that Asia and Africa is bearing. So production हमेशा से एशिया और अफ्रीका में 73% of the world रहा है और वो रहेगा, वो इससे ज़्यादा होगा. वो उनका environment, उसकी recycling capability जो है, because of that cold environment, that is not very good. और अभी तक वो systems वो develop नहीं कर सके कि वो कुदरत के इस law को bypass कर सकें. So this is something very potential, a food for thought, where we can really put in our energies, we can really go into deeper research, and we can make very careful policies and very careful selections when it comes to what we are going to produce as a nation, production में. और इसके अंदर बहुत margin है, बहुत बड़ी market है. हम globally what we do, we just follow the trend. भेड़ चाल. We go after the भेड़ चाल. दुनिया में ये चल रहा है, यही कर लो. We need to make intelligent and foresighted decisions when it comes to what we really need to produce, and that is compatible with our natural resources. Thank you.
Quick question. इसी तरह का, ताकि जो बैठे हैं वो भी ज़रा पार्टिसिपेट कर सकें. इनिशिएटिव क्या होने चाहिए? हम क्विकली अगर हम इसको कर लें, ताकि हम एक दो लोगों से और भी, कि जो हम सस्टेनेबल शिपिंग की कॉरिडोर की. Oh, yes, sure. Sure.
Commander Roig, German Navy. Thank you very much. I also was interested to contribute with the German sword to answer your question. But first of all, I have to say I am here privately, but I'm very thankful that I'm guest of Pakistan Navy, where I was the last nine and a half months at the Pakistan Navy War College. So what is my thought on how you can bring together both the parts, development and blue economy? In my eyes, so in my German eyes, being a friend of Pakistan, since I stood at the tomb of Iqbal, and became more and more interested and learned about Iqbal's friendship to Germany, learned about Jinnah, and visited all the places in Pakistan and learned a lot about economy, development, and all the maritime issues of Pakistan. In your new national security policy of Pakistan from 2022, it's mentioned. So work together with United Nations. United Nations have a program. These are the Sustainability Development Goals, and they are also coping with blue economy and with all what you have discussed here. And this is also what European Union is doing. So not all members of European Union, but most of the members, they are following a plan, and they know this costs money. And but this all in line with United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. And I will end with my last thought, and I think this would be great for Pakistan when Pakistan starts, sorry to say this, to think big. Is that when you know that you want to shift from more security-centric to more economy-centric, when you know, as it was mentioned in the early morning, that you want to be more people-centric, or as it was mentioned, yeah, there are no borders anymore, yeah, when it comes to the sea. And also the professor lady, she studied in London, yeah, she reiterated this, yeah, and then you have to shift, yeah, you have to shift to the ocean, to the sea. And then, in my eyes, it is utmost important that Pakistan becomes member of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. This was an organization, and this was a baby of South Africa and India, but it's not anymore. So when you see the Indian Ocean like a bow, yeah, everyone is member, but Myanmar not and Pakistan not. And when someone of my colleagues in Pakistan Navy War College, so from my fellow students, comrades there, says, it's not possible because India don't want to, I do not concur. Because it's not only all these states from South Africa to Australia, also Iran is member, but also Saudi Arabia is associated member, Germany, Italy, European Union, China and Russia, they are all members of this organization, so there must be a leverage, you know, that Pakistan could jump as quick as possible in this organization. And they are dealing with all what was mentioned today. Yeah, they have six priority areas: maritime security, trade and investment facilitation, fishery management, disaster risk reduction, then academic and scientific cooperation, tourism promotion, cultural exchanges, and then 2 focus areas: blue economy and women's economic empowerment.
Yes.
So wonderful. You know, so, and also some of the members of Indian Ocean Rim Association, they start to do something on a smaller base, you know, so regional connectivity. Why not thinking about the North Arabian Sea and working together with Oman, working together with United Arab Emirates, working together with Iran and Pakistan, and start to work with friends, yeah, as we have learned after the devastating situation after the end of the Second World War, you know, and Germany has its biggest friend in France, and the opposite way around. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And let me add one thing. Thank you for very nicely elaborated and one new thing which we really about to say. There are forums with Indian Ocean, ROMI, we prepared some recommendation for Ministry of Science and Technology for the part of that, and we work on that. We also were SCOR, ROMI, and everything, and we were part of that and member also. But the Pakistan government, we made a suggestion to the Ministry of Science and Technology earlier, but I don't know, this is in a slow process, but maybe you can revitalize for these options which is available already, or maybe Pakistan Navy, maybe through NEMA, or maybe Wahaj University, or Ministry of Science and Technology, or Ministry of Maritime Affairs. These forums are available. They can make a consortium to be part of Indian Ocean regions for research and innovations, right? And this forum, I can share this forum to you. I'm a member, not member like, but I'm an active member, receiving their newsletters and other things also. I can forward it to you and for anybody around. Yeah, this is a very good suggestion. And we also, thank you for enlightening and making move of this entire conversation. I really grateful to you for addition. Yes, there is a larger forum available for interaction, not just within Pakistan, within the region and globally as well. There are forums that are available. And NIO was the only pristine environment at time. There are many organizations now. It was established in 1991. I proudly say I was the part of that organization. So SCOR, SCAR, Indian Ocean, we are the focal point of all these international organizations in past. So you can do that as well, and you can collaborate with NIO, maybe with Ministry of Science and Technology. You can have more information about that. Again, we were discussing, who wants to ask something? Yeah, sure.
Just want to clarify something
Yes.
about IORA. Pakistan number of time approached the IORA institution
Yes.
to become member, but it is unfortunately the IORA constitution says that all 27, the founding members of the IORA, have to say yes to the new membership.
Yes.
And anybody doing veto the Pakistan, and so there is one country which is doing number of time veto for Pakistan membership. And probably now Pakistan government is also not interested, because without Pakistan, what IORA has at present has achieved, it is a very big question mark also. I think my admiral is sitting and he may be enlightening something about Indian Ocean Maritime Network, which we are proposing as an alternate, not the alternate, but it will be an open forum. All maritime stakeholders, universities, education institutions, research institutions, individuals, they will be joining that international Indian Ocean Maritime Network in their private capacity, in the official capacity, for the good cause, the total cause of humanity. Not Pakistan, not Indian Ocean, it will be a global setup, and we will be launching soon. That proposal is there in pipeline, and will be. And then secondly, I can come back to the word, that development which you are saying too. There is a difference between maritime economy and blue economy. Blue economy is basically, it has an inherent word sustainability factor in that. Likewise, the brown economy and green economy, there's a sustainability factor in automatic development. So once now in 21st century, once we use the word development for anything, it automatically caters for the sustainability factor also. Now, application of this in Pakistan in maritime sector, I can give you one good example. We are having 28,000 fishing boats at present fishing in Pakistani waters. Unfortunately, 80% of Pakistani fishing stock has been depleted because of overfishing. And we should have 8,000 fishing boats at one particular time. We have 28,000. And last year, on the last year, government of Pakistan dished out 500 free fishing boat engines to the new fishermen. So sustainability has to be part of the development itself. You can develop the sector within these boundaries of sustainability. And this is the 21st century. You cannot roll back the wheel that we can't do this. We have to adopt the culture, adoption, and all new industries, all new setups, all new building code, all new maritime business, they have to address this issue of sustainability. Otherwise, these oceans, they will not be available for our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
May I carry on?
Sir, एक second.
जी, जी.
I will conclude in the end, and I'll answer most of the question and maybe add some of them. Let me ask with the panelists, and I'll come back.
Let me. Okay, let's put this development, sustainability, and the policy. Let's see with another different perspective. Globally, if there is something developing, everybody is benefiting. Like internet, phone, we have in our hand. We have not done anything in this. Actually, this was the global development, and everybody is benefiting out of it. Similarly, now the globally things are changing, and they are going to the green. And in Pakistan as well, we are going green, but our policies are shifting pole to pole every time. They are different, changing. For example, if I see the Neelam Dam producing the energy at the cost of 9 rupees per unit. Tarbela and Mangla, I think 2.7 rupees per unit. If you go solar, its lifespan is 25 years. And this unit costs you, if you divide the cost over 25 years, that comes out to be 2.7 rupees per unit. And if you go independent of, and this happened only because of the policy introduced net metering. Everybody went to this solarization, and the cost is that drastically changed, that 2.7 rupees per unit it will cost a person who is using the solar. And now the government is again changing the policy that they don't want to go from the net metering to the gross metering. Even in this scenario, if somebody decides to go off grid completely, he puts his own batteries, the investment cost goes double. That means about 5 rupees a unit over 25 years. And everybody, the industrialist, any businessman is suffering because of the energy crisis. And the policy, this has to come from the government, because somehow Back 4 years back, they introduced the net metering, everybody went green, went solar, and now they want to reverse. These kind of the policies, and this is applicable for the industry, for the homes, for the port, everywhere. That if we will save the energy, if we will make the energy cheaper, everything will grow. But we are protecting the IPPs. There are few people. I don't know how we cannot, that damage which we want to transfer to the common person, why that cannot be transferred to the IPP owners. I can give you help. I mean, I cannot give help for everything. I cannot give the help, but I can suggest something. These IPP people, they are charging the capacity charges, right? And everybody knows they are not operating at the full capacity and that they don't have the capacity which they are claiming, for which they are charging. There are about 47 IPPs operating in the country. So everybody is producing maybe 20% of their capacity because we have to pay them the fuel charges separately and the capacity charges separately. So tell 50% people, give me zero output. I don't need. At the other 50%, I should ask them give the full 100% output because they don't have the capacity. And they will betray from their contract, not the government or us. And we can stop off them because you are not meeting your own contract, because you are charging us the capacity charges, and because in the garb of the capacity charges, we are transferring from the net metering to the gross metering, and we are putting our industry, our homes on expensive electricity. So these are the policies we should focus. This is the forum we should put across somewhere that why we are became subservient to these IPPs, right? So because they are not producing at the full of their capacity and they don't have the capacity to produce the full capacity. We know this all. Everybody knows. But those 47 IPPs, why we cannot manage? And ultimately, I can tell, whatever they will do, people will go off grid. Industrialists will go off grid. Anybody will having the sense, he will go off grid, and this burden will be shifted to the IPP and maybe some people who are not putting this thing. So these are the global development, and from the outcome of that, everybody will be benefited. So this is sustainable. This is the development, and this is the actually private development. Everybody is developing by himself. Government is not to develop anything in this. Everybody is putting at their own cost. They are making it. Only the government is restricting that development by putting the negative policies. This is the point. Thank you.
Only 10 minutes. 2 minutes for everyone and 2 minutes for try and stop watch the ballot. 2 minutes for you and series 2 minutes and rest. In the end, 2 minutes is for you, right? Fair enough.
Okay.
Stop watch the ballot.
May I take on from here?
Yeah, start now. Your 2 minutes.
Okay, we were talking, heard my German friend talk about sustainable development goals, and I came in the afternoon. I wonder if that has been discussed in the morning. Sustainable development goals किसी ने बात की आज? 15 बहुत ज़्यादा हुई होगी. तो basically बेहतरी के लिए, humanity की बेहतरी के लिए, to sum it up. उसमें there are some that are relevant to maritime sector that we have clubbed together. It is not open-ended. मैं कहना ये चाह रहा हूँ कि ये नहीं कि things will continue and all is well. We need to do something because they are time-bound. We do at the international level, United Nations का इन्होंने जिक्र किया. Everyone has to be compliant by 2050, is it? 2030. And we are already at the halfway. So they are already seeking कि आधा time गुजर गया है, कौन कहाँ पहुँचा है. Fear ये होना चाहिए आपके ज़हन में जो हम, क्योंकि we are mostly easy, laid back people, nation, कि ये ना हो कल को कोई sanction लग जाएगी because you are not compliant on this, तो आपके साथ ये तिजारत पे पाबंदी हो जाएगी, या ये ship नहीं आ सकेंगे आपके, या आपका export नहीं कर सकेंगे. So before that happens, we need to, and I think all the important forum that have the voice need to work on it, because those who handling our maritime top at the moment, I'm afraid, are not the maritime experts, and they would not understand. फिर हम एक reaction mode में आ जाएंगे, ये हो गया क्या हो गया. मैडम ने बात की इधर गवादर पोर्ट की. I think we need to separately take each port. Easiest would be Gwadar, it's the latest, it's the new, brand new thing. So you set the standards right now, easily implementable. Then get back to Port Qasim, the next baby. But Port Qasim would also be easier. So you implement that and have a recipe for Karachi entirely different, because Karachi 1887 say the city has virtually taken over the port. And unfortunately, most of it is the illegal settlements that have propped up on the port land. Unko kaise handle karna hai, and how the city of Karachi has to be controlled to prevent pollution. We talked of Ramus Ocean and Indian. I just एक छोटा सा एक जोक आपको सुना देते हैं. मैं few seconds. Last joke बताना ज़रूरी है. I was going out on a merchant ship from Karachi. मेरी आदत थी नेवी की वजह से कि जो भी शिप आ रहा है, I would take a ride. हम बाहर निकल रहे थे तो देखा एक सरदार जी नीचे से आए और विंग पे खड़े होके मेरे साथ कहता है पानी बड़ा साफ़ है. मैं कहा सरदार जी आर यू ओके, वी टॉकिंग ऑफ कराची पोर्ट, रोज़ हम वी आर डिस्कसिंग कि गंदा तरीन. कहता है यू हैवंट सीन बॉम्बे. So that cultural, shift has to take place here also, and जो हमारा है उसमें. Thank you, ma'am, for those extra seconds.
I would like to mention the strategic challenges of the arc of monsoon nations. The richness this Indian Ocean holds, the emerging Pacific century, and the gateway to that Pacific century is your Indian Ocean. You cannot deny the importance of Indian Ocean. And when it comes to Indian Ocean, Pakistan did not make very wise decisions. It is not among many potential nations where it could stand. And this is one thing that by nature, by default, has been given to Pakistan. This is a golden opportunity. We can build our capacity into the maritime affairs, connect the seas with our inland water transport systems. देखिए Dajla, Farat, Sindh, Indus Valley, and then Mississippi. These are big rivers of the world. इनका impact है वहाँ पर इंसान के रहने में, resources की exploration में. इसको हम deny नहीं कर सकते. Without building Indus is deeply ignored. Indus is deeply ignored and criminally ignored. When it comes to policy making, taking practical, small level, middle scale level project decisions, it is very, very compromised. It is very, very neglected. We need to build Indus if we want to build our interest into the Indian Ocean. हमारा ये दरिया हमें उस समंदर के साथ जोड़ता है और इसके साथ बाकी 5 दरिया भी हैं. ठीक है, we have already given the ownership of some of our rivers in the Indus Water Treaty. कोई दुनिया में कोई मुल्क अपना दरिया, अपना पानी नहीं देता, हमने छोड़ा. And that was a strategic mistake that we made. उसके लिए हम आज तक pay कर रहे हैं. And on that capacity, India has built the inland water transport system. दुनिया में सबसे सस्ता जो transport का system है, that is water transportation. हमारे river रावी में भी बड़े-बड़े ships आते होते थे. And that was not very far away. Okay? That when the East India Company took over, यहाँ ships आते थे. And then they built it. Adam Smith कहते हैं कि natural resources को आप build करें. ठीक है, हमारे नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज हमारे वाटरवेज थे, उसके साथ हमने रेलवे बिल्ड किया. अब उसके साथ हम कंक्रीट के कब्रिस्तान बिल्ड कर रहे हैं. वी आर नॉट मेकिंग वेरी वाइज डिसीजंस. वी आर लुकिंग आफ्टर द शॉर्ट टर्म गोल्स एंड वी आर इग्नोरिंग द लॉन्ग टर्म गोल्स. वी नीड टू इन्वेस्ट इनटू दिस. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
जी, तो क्विकली टू सम अप, आई थिंक
एक सवाल
मेरे ख्याल में जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ है कि वो है कि हमें अपना सोल्यूशन खुद ढूंढना है. हमें अगर किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से जाके मिलना है या उनके साथ हम ज्वाइन कर लें, दैट इज़ नॉट द आंसर टू आवर इल्स. हमें अपने आप को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए वी हैव टू फाइंड एन इंडिजिनस सोल्यूशन, एंड इन दैट वी हैव अ वेरी गुड एग्जाम्पल. हम कराची को रन कर रहे हैं, पोर्ट को, सिंस इंसेप्शन ऑफ द कंट्री. Gwadar is a new port and Gwadar has a lot of promise. So here we have to see कि वहाँ पे क्या हमारी गलतियाँ हैं जो हम यहाँ ना दोहराएं. बड़ी अच्छी बात की यहाँ से एक खातून ने, a sense of ownership. मैं खुद और मारा में 2 साल कमांडर जिना नेवल बेस रहा हूँ. वहाँ पे जो बलोच है ना, उनके कल्चर में या उनके जो मर्द हैं वो 2 ही काम करते हैं, या वो शराब पीते हैं या वो फिशिंग करते हैं और स्मगलिंग करते हैं. तो यू सी, ये कल्चर को चेंज करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. वहाँ पे स्किल स्कूल्स इंट्रोड्यूस करना, वहाँ पे वो मैरीटाइम फोर्स ऑफ द फ्यूचर इम्प्रूव करना, ये बड़े क्वेश्चंस. और ये जैसे मैडम बार बार पूछ रही है ना कि इनिशिएटिव बताएं क्या करें, ये ओवरनाइट नहीं हो सकता. इट हैज़ टू टेक सर्टेन टाइम, और उसके साथ आपको हिंटरलैंड को इम्प्रूव करना है, वहाँ की कैपेसिटी बिल्ड करनी है. जहाज़ कोई ख़राब हो गया है, उसको रिपेयर होना है, वो कहाँ से स्किल्ड लेबर आएगी जो उसको ठीक करेगी. सो देयर इज़ एन ओवरऑल इंटरकनेक्टेड रिक्वायरमेंट टू बिल्ड अ मैरीटाइम कल्चर. तो जो जब हम वो कर लेंगे तो फिर वी वुड बी एबल टू गो इनटू दैट 21st century एंड ऑल दैट. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Taking the advantage of these last 2 minutes, my recommendation is that the MoMA, the Ministry of Maritime Affairs, that should be handled by the technical people, and my final recommendation would be better to handle by the naval people like MOD. There are a lot of retired people we have there to work around. In MoMA, getting through anything is like next to impossible. My personal experience, we are chasing one case for the last 2 years and it's not heading anywhere. So if our admirals are sitting here, so if this move can be made somewhere, that in MoMA at least secretary level should be like retired naval officer, like MOD we have the secretary retired defense person. So in MoMA we should have some person sitting there who can look after this thing, who can push this thing. And people, the bureaucrats actually, they are really unaware of all kind of marine things as well as the naval things. Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
अच्छा, 2-3 लोग कुछ सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं. मेरी हम्बल सी रिक्वेस्ट है, ओनली 10 seconds फॉर यू. मैं अपने 2 मिनट में से 10 seconds दे रही हूँ, और अगर 10 seconds से 11 होगा तो आई हैव राइट फॉर स्टॉप यू. डोंट माइंड फॉर दैट. जस्ट 10 seconds.
बहुत शुक्रिया. कुछ सवाल नहीं है, एक बेज़रर सी ख्वाहिश है कि काश कुछ हिस्सा उर्दू में भी होता तो ये प्रोग्राम ज़्यादा मौसर होता. बहुत शुक्रिया.
ठीक है, आप कुछ appreciated for his small increase.
From your last comment, sir, I'm Rafi Jamal from International Relations Department. Because you have lot of retired naval officers, so you want to put them there. This is not a solution.
Sir, ये इसका जवाब मैं दूँ. जी, आप कुछ पूछना चाह रहे हैं? Quick, आपको कुछ पूछना. 10 seconds only. सही है, मुझको छोड़ो. Just 10 seconds.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Basit Malik. I'm the Secretary General of GBDA Gwadar Builders and Welfare Association. 10 सेकेंड से थोड़ा सा, यानी 1 मिनट से पहले मैं सिर्फ अपना कमेंट देना चाहूँगा. बहुत अच्छा लगा आज की पूरी डिस्कशन, चूँकि ग्वादर से हमारा तल्लक है, ग्वादर में बिज़नेस कर रहे हैं.
आवाज़ आ रही है?
हेलो. तो आज की डिस्कशन सुनने के लिए स्पेशल सारा दिन मैंने बैठा. आज की डिस्कशन से कंक्लूजन जो नज़र आया वो ये है कि हमारे पास जो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स है, वेरी टेक्निकल, वेरी पॉजिटिव फॉर पाकिस्तान, और बहुत बड़ा ये रिसोर्स है. एक रिसोर्स हमारा ये है, एक रिसोर्स है हमारे ये तलबा, स्टूडेंट्स, यंग जनरेशन है. मैं समझता हूँ एक हमने जो चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स का एक दर्द सुना, उन्होंने अपना पूरा दर्द बयान किया. अब उन बिजनेसमैन और फिर उनके लिए हमने फैसिलिटेशन करनी है, पाकिस्तान को डेवलप करना है और उसको सस्टेनेबल बनाना है, स्मार्ट पोर्ट सिटी या ग्रीन, सारी ये पॉलिसीज़ हैं. तो एक तरफ पॉलिसी मेकर्स हैं, जो प्लानर्स हैं, और एक तरफ डिसीजन मेकर्स हैं, वो है गवर्नमेंट, जो ब्यूरोक्रेसी. काश आज की ये डिस्कशन सम अप करते हुए हम कोई ऐसा कोई प्लेटफॉर्म बनाएं कि जो गवर्नमेंट के जैसे सियासी बयान आज आपने सुना ही है कि एवरीथिंग इज़ ओके, ठीक है, जबकि बिजनेसमैन पिस रहा है, आप भी बता रहे हैं। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि आज की डिस्कशन ये जो बहुत बड़ा इनिशिएटिव है मिनहाज यूनिवर्सिटी का, करीमा का, ये कोई ब्रिज ऐसा बना दे गवर्नमेंट और ये बिजनेसमैन, इनके दरमियान पॉलिसीज़ वगैरह को वो उनको बार बार पिच करे ताकि हम इससे वाकई कोई इनिशिएटिव ले सके और आउटपुट निकाल सके। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you very much. I'm so overwhelming. I really enjoy this session, the participation, not just panelists, the audience, and I really appreciate it. I feel so honored and proud कि हमारे सेशन, अगर इजाज़त दें तो थोड़ा सा उर्दू में भी, क्योंकि हमारे कुछ फॉरेन डेलीगेट्स भी हैं, तो हम ज़रा वी ट्राई टू बी केयरफुल फॉर दैट कि दे डोंट फील लेफ्ट आउट कि जी वी आर टॉकिंग इन आवर ओन लैंग्वेज, हम उर्दू में भी कुछ बात कर लेते हैं। देखिए, सबसे अच्छी इस वक्त जो खुशाइन बात यह है, सबसे पॉजिटिव बात अगर आप देखें आज के सेशन की, कि समंदर उठ के लाहौर आया है और मिनहाज यूनिवर्सिटी को आप ज़रा बिग राउंड ऑफ मेरा ख्याल है इससे बड़ा इनोवेशंस क्या होगा कि द मिनहाज यूनिवर्सिटी दे ब्रॉट ओशन ब्लू इकोनॉमी इन लैंडलॉक्ड सिटी इन लाहौर। वी रियली अप्रिशिएट इट। जो हम कहते हैं हमेशा रिपीटेडली कि जो समंदर है ये पाकिस्तान का समंदर है, इस पे हम सब का इतना ही राइट है जितना सिंध और बलूचिस्तान का है। ये हकीकत है। जब तक हम समंदर की ओनरशिप क्रिएट नहीं करेंगे, हम किसी इंटरवेंशंस की उम्मीद नहीं कर सकते। और मैं डॉक्टर साहब को, जो भी वाइस चांसलर मिनहाज यूनिवर्सिटी, आई रियली अप्रिशिएट। और शायद ये वाइट यूनिफॉर्म है कि इनका विजन और इनकी कनेक्टिविटी विद द ओशन इज़ सो स्ट्रॉन्ग, जो एक आम आदमी की इतनी स्ट्रॉन्ग कनेक्टिविटी नहीं होती है। तो ये भी इनको अप्रिशिएट करें कि जो फोर्सेस के लोग हैं, दे हैव अ पावर एंड अ विजन टू क्रिएट समथिंग न्यू। और सिमिलरली द वॉर कॉलेज लाहौर इज़ ऑल्सो इन लाहौर। So these are two maritime institutions are placed in Lahore. This is very interestingly. अच्छा, हम अगर ये conclude करें, और मैंने repeatedly कुछ questions पूछे थे और interestingly जो जवाब हम चाहते थे वो हमें मिले, लेकिन अभी भी कुछ अधूरे थे। एक सबसे बड़ी जो चीज़ मिसिंग है, जो आप बिजनेसमैन की बात करते हैं, वो मिसिंग ये है कि पाकिस्तान में बिजनेस सस्टेनेबिलिटी नहीं है। आपका बिजनेस जो है, अगर आप रिकॉल करें तो पाकिस्तान में जो पहली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कायदे-ए-आज़म ने बनाई थी वो PNSC थी, और उन्होंने अपने दोस्तों को दावत दी थी, इनवाइट किया था टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दैट मैरीटाइम सेक्टर। सो इसका मतलब ये है कि जो तमाम बिजनेस का, प्रॉस्पेरिटी का जो बैकबोन है वो ओशंस हैं, वो मैरीटाइम सेक्टर है, स्पेशली पोर्ट एंड शिपिंग। तो हमने क्या किया, 100 शिप से वी रिड्यूस डाउन टू 1 or 2 एंड नाउ वी हैव 10। हो सकता है हम टनेज के हिसाब से वी आर बेटर ऑफ, बट नंबर ऑफ शिप्स आर सो लिमिटेड। तो एक तो हमारे बिजनेस, उसका वजह यह है कि विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम हमने बिजनेसमैन का ट्रस्ट खो दिया। ये रियलिटी है और इस पे यू कान डिनाइड कि नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है। जो हम बात करते हैं, सस्टेनेबल फिशिंग की बात करते हैं, सस्टेनेबल शिपिंग की बात हो रही है, ग्रीन कॉरिडोर्स की बात करते हैं, इट इज़ वेरी ईजी फॉर अस। क्यों? देखिए, सबसे स्मार्ट वो लोग होते हैं जो चैलेंजेस में अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ देखते हैं। मैं एक छोटी सी सस्टेनेबल की एग्जांपल देती हूँ आपकी अपनी ज़िंदगी की। वी यूज़ टू यूज़ दीज टंगस्टन रेड बल्ब्स, 100 वॉट्स के होते थे, हम सब के घरों में होते थे। वो कैसे इनोवेटिवली चेंज हो गए विद LED लाइट्स। वी आर पार्ट ऑफ मिटिगेशन फॉर क्लाइमेट चेंज, बट वी डोंट रजिस्टर इट, वी डोंट एक्नॉलेज एंड अप्रिशिएट इट। वी डिड दैट। सिमिलरली the changing is going to be happen. We want it, we don't want it. It's going to be happen because we are going to receive a lot of international pressure. We can't do trade, we cannot move around. हमारे trade barriers होंगे, हमारी चीज़ें embarkment लगेगा। तो जो सबसे smart लोग हैं, और वो कौन लोग smart होंगे? The youth, the youngsters. The 65% of our nation is young. So be visionary. तो सर, मैंने दोपहर में भी आपसे हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट की थी कि इनके लिए एक न्यू बिजनेस जो भी आप उसको कहें, इनोवेशन सेंटर, इन्वेंशन सेंटर, वो इस्टाब्लिश करें। हमेशा जो ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेसमैन है वो रिप्लेस होना चाहिए विद द न्यू बिजनेस वेंचर्स, विद मोर टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट। इस वक्त AI का ज़माना है, टेक्नोलॉजिकल इनोवेशंस का ज़माना है, ग्रीन। अच्छा, ग्रीन में भी बहुत बड़ा बिजनेस है। हम ये समझते हैं कि ये हमारी लाइबिलिटी है, बट दिस इज़ नॉट लाइबिलिटी, दिस इज़ एन अपॉर्चुनिटी अगेन। इस वक्त जो कार्बन ट्रेड हो रहा है, आप क्यों नहीं अपने सोलार पैनल को रजिस्टर कराते? क्यों नहीं वो इनिशिएटिव जो वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट के हैं या ग्रीनिंग के हैं, कलेक्टिव एफर्ट करें और उसको रजिस्टर करें एंड ट्राई एंड मेक मनी आउट ऑफ दैट। इस वक्त ग्रीन क्रेडिट जो है इज ट्रेडिंग लाइक अ मनी। So we have to be smart enough to be part of these all green businesses. An individual can do that. It is not necessarily an industry will do that. An individual can take an initiative, make a collective effort. And there is a lot of opportunities out there. So thank you very much. My only humble message is just to be innovative. Challenge yourself. And visionary. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम सब डिस्कस करते हैं, ट्राई टू मेक फाइन सोल्यूशन आउट ऑफ दैट। बिजनेस बेस्ड सोल्यूशंस आर द बेस्ट सोल्यूशंस, जिसमें डॉलर प्राइस लगता है वो बेस्ट होते हैं। तो बी इनोवेटिव एंड ट्राई टू बी ए न्यू बिजनेस वेंचर। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you so much, Dr. Nuzhat Khan. Indeed, it was a very enlightening session. Let me share one thing with our audience, with our guest panelist. You were talking about sustainability and United Nations, the Sustainable Goals 2030 agenda. We are proud to share that Minhaj University Lahore has been awarded the membership of United Nations Academic Impact. And under that, and this is a huge achievement for Minhaj University because there are very few universities in Pakistan who have this membership. And under this arrangement, we have nominated 17 ambassadors, each catering to each sustainable development goal. For example, one ambassador for the first goal, that is no poverty, and then one ambassador for goal number 14, that is life underwater, one ambassador for the goal life on land. So we have 17 ambassadors, and you can see them here, and they are working to create awareness, to tell people, to tell their fellow students that why we need to take initiatives to have some sustainable development. So this is something that we would like to share with you people, that yes, we are working for sustainability. And especially we are, through our Center of Research and Innovation in Maritime Affairs, we are focusing on SDG 14, that is on life below water. And we deal with every aspect of this goal. And we are focusing that how the life can be improved, whether it is the shipping, whether it is the port management, whether it is the fisheries, whether it is related with the aquatic life. So we are taking care of that. And the role that we are playing is creating awareness, and also we are providing research input to different institutions so that the things get better for us. And of course, we are looking for positivity and, of course, a way forward for all of us, because this is our land, these are our seas, our waters, and we need to work for them. So this is the initiative that Minhaj University has taken. Now I would like request our panelists to please take their seats so that we can move on to our next session. Thank you so much. Our panelists, yes, please. Okay. Do we have the concluding speech first or the shields? All right. Okay, so before the concluding speech, there would be the shield distribution, and I would like to request Professor Dr. Hussain Muhyiddin Qadri and Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shehzad, Rear Admiral Azhar Mahmood, Sitara Imtiaz Military, so please come forward and distribute shields to our honorable panelist and moderator. Okay. First of all, I would like to request Rear Admiral Naveed Ahmed Rizvi, Hilal Imtiaz Military, sir, please come forward to receive the shield. A small token of gratitude for your contribution to this conference. Thank you so much for joining us. Commodore Dr. Saeed Khalid, Sitar Imtiaz Military, please sir, come forward and receive your shield. We are so pleased to receive you here. Ms. Nudrat Bano, a maritime expert from Forman Christian College, University, Lahore. Thank you for coming. And Rear Admiral Azhar Hayas, Sitara Imtiaz Military, Tamga Imtiaz Military. Sir, please come forward and receive the token of gratitude for being with us today. Thank you so much. Now I would like to request Dr. Nusrat Khan, former Director, Institute of Oceanography and CEO, BlueNet, Karachi. Madam, please receive your shield. And thank you for being with us. John. Also, we have a guest with us, and we would like to request Mr. Cyrus Oik. So please come forward and receive the shield as a gesture of gratitude for being with us and attending our conference. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for sharing the German perspective as well. Thank you. Sure. Now, the Rear Admiral Azhar Mahmood, he would like to present shield to Professor Dr. Hussain Moizuddin Qadri on the behalf of Pakistan Navy War College. So these gifts are presented to Professor Dr. Hussain Moizuddin Qadri as a token of appreciation on behalf of Pakistan Navy War College. Now, Rear Admiral is presenting shield to Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shehzad. Okay, so there is one for me as well. Thank you so much. And moving on to our next session, that is... okay. Please join me in welcoming an acclaimed maritime expert, Vice Admiral Ahmed Saeed, Hilal Imtiaz Military, President, National Institute of Maritime Affairs, Islamabad, to deliver... Okay. जी sure. सर मिलना चाह रहे बेटा अपने मोबाइल Please, students, be seated. The program is not yet ended. Our esteemed guests, they are meeting the 17 ambassadors that are nominated by Minhaj University for United Nations Sustainable Goals. Please be seated. Girls, come to this side. Girls, come to this side, please. Hafsa, Khadija, beta hai idhar. Yeah. Please assemble yourself for the group photo. जी. Thank you so much. We are proud of our students who are working for the sustainable development goals that is the need of the hour, not only for Pakistan, but for the whole world. Moving on, please join me in welcoming an acclaimed maritime expert, Vice Admiral Ahmed Saeed Hilal Imtiaz Military, President, National Institute of Maritime Affairs, Islamabad, to deliver the concluding speech. Vice Admiral Ahmed Saeed Hilal Imtiaz Military.
Thank you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I think we have had about 6.5 hours of maritime related subject bombardment which you have endured. So my special thanks to you, and I appreciate that all of you are sitting there. First of all, I greatly admire the Professor Dr. Hussain Mohyuddin Qadri Sahab, the Deputy Chairman of BOG, the Vice Chancellor Professor Said Mahmood Shahzad Sahab sir, all the organizers, those who have been here all around and making this entire conference a big success. I think round of applause for everybody. Sir, with due apologies, I'll say something in Urdu and then I'll shift into English, because यहाँ पे एक सवाल किया गया कि बिल्कुल ये जो कॉन्फ्रेंस है इसको उर्दू में होना चाहिए। मैं आपसे 100% मुत्तफिक हूँ कि जिस ज़ुबान में आप सोचते हैं, जिस ज़ुबान में आपके एहसासात होते हैं, अगर उसी में ही बात की जाए तो फिर दिल पे असर करती है। लेकिन थोड़ा सा हमारे यहाँ अभी एक इशू कह लें, वो ये है कि इस तरह के अगर हमने अरेंजमेंट करनी है तो फिर हमारे पास ट्रांसलेटर होना चाहिए, जो कि अगर आप लगा लें तो जो हमारे दोस्त अब्रॉड हैं, जो सुन रहे हैं, जो यहाँ आए हुए हैं, उनके लिए आसानी होती है कि जो हम बात करें उनको भी समझ आ जाए। तो इसके बाद मैं कोशिश करूँगा कि दोबारा शिफ्ट कर जाऊँ इंग्लिश के ऊपर, मुझे आप इजाज़त दीजिएगा। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आई थिंक the entire spectrum of this conference, which I have observed very keenly today. First thing, which is a great success, I would say, is, which I always consider, is a step towards a success, is to know what you don't know. So today's conference has greatly contributed in all spectrum of our maritime domain, that whatever gaps we have, whatever inadequacies we have, that was highlighted by the panelists, plus some of the very intriguing questions also came into play, and I think that gave us more light in terms of that what is the direction, what are the inadequacies, what are the gaps in which we should be looking forward to. So as everything, I think very comprehensively it has been touched upon, and as per the program, there is a follow-up closing also. That means the recommendation of this conference. So I'll not take away the air from that side also. So that is a challenge for me, that how to negotiate this time with you. So I'll just develop on a little environment in which we are, because until unless we don't understand the environment, going towards our main topic, that is the sea of opportunity, enhancing the maritime transportation and connectivity, is not possible. And some part I'll be giving about the geography and its strength, and then what are the best practices and what are the options for us to lead to that sea trade. So starting from the Gentropoli, who was actually the inventor of this term blue economy, which we have been listening all around. Blue or green is actually the synonym. If we have the goggles, we are practicing the things on land, then it is green practices, and if it is the same thing we are practicing at sea, that is the blue. So it is resting upon three pillars. One is the sustainable use of sea for the economic gains, and economic gains for the betterment of humanity and improvement of the livelihood of the communities. And last but not the least is that it should preserve the ecosystem of your oceans. So once we talk of shared opportunity or shared prosperity, so this is actually a shared responsibility. And that shared responsibility is holistic in our nature, in our nation. As a state, we are responsible. As a society, we are responsible. And as an individual, we are also responsible. So there was a question that where we should lie a balance today between green development as well as our green practices. So in my view, we have two types of development processes going towards the blue economy. One is the technology intensive, on which we talk much about it, like we have been talking about smart ports, smart shipping, which is actually the technology intensive. And other is the adaptive part. The adaptive part is the one individually one can do. Right, if we want to say there is a microplastic pollution at sea, so what we as an individual can do, 60% of our plastic is a single-use plastic. And that is what we are using for the burgers, what we are using for maybe for our drinking water also. So adaptation at an individual level is very important. Coming to a little economic terms, that at the moment, about as per United Nations Conference on the Trade and Development, it indicates about $75 trillion is the trade volume at sea. And if we have seen the 80% is passing through this area from the Indian Ocean, how important this Indian Ocean becomes. So we are sitting astride, and 5 choke points which are actually important, they lie in this Indian Ocean. So it is our inability that we are not able to harness this potential. A point was given here that in the ship recycling industry, which has gone down to almost zero now, an industry which had the capacity to have about 450 to 500 ships per year recycled has come down to about 20-25 ships now, merely because we did not take decisions timely. So connecting into the corridors at sea lines of communication, the hinterland, making the more shipyards and more ports, that is, I think, imperative. For that, we need to have a centralized body which should control this. We are making the authorities for housing societies, but we are not making authority for the maritime side. We don't have National Maritime Authority, which should centrally control, which should centrally promulgate the policies, which should centrally provide the standards. Somebody had made here a point that our seas should have standards. Definitely we should have. And plus we should have a monitoring system as well. So that is where I think there is a gap. We did mention about that the national maritime policy is still languishing in our bureaucratic channels for the last about 22 years. So until unless we don't have a policy, policy will lead towards the mechanism will lead towards the standards, then is the execution systems, and then HR development, then the resource allocations, and towards the end we will have the fruits. So the entire system is stuck up because the policies are not there. Within the realm of policy, another important thing is the 18th Amendment. As per the 18th Amendment, a lot of maritime related issues have been shifted towards the provinces. But the provinces, they did not do the legislation. Giving you the small example, maintaining good order at sea is the responsibility of law enforcement agency, which is Pakistan Maritime Agency, PMSA. Now the PMSA, if it doesn't have the legislative capacity behind it to prosecute, to capture, to arrest the people at sea, so they cannot do anything. Citing your little example, like in France, they have on 3 sides the sea. So they treat that sea, on the north it is actually the English Channel, the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. So they treat all these 3 sectors as a province, and they have a governor of that province, which has the powers to deal with everything which is happening at sea. He is responsible for maintaining good law and order at sea. And he is responsible to the Vice President of France. He has his own legislation, he has his courts, he has the lawyers, and he has the cells also. That means jail. So everything is treated under one hat. So here we don't have a head, centralized body which can take decisions. So that is one of the recommendation I would say, that we should have a national maritime authority. Earlier the better, so that give a centrality to our issues which are being taken, which should be taken care of. A question was about the IORA. Our German friend had asked. In fact, I can tell you, in the maritime domain, we are well connected to each other on the seas, as far as the India is concerned. A lot of forums which we are supporting each other. IOTC is one of the forum. These are some other forums also. So this is a forum on which Pakistan wanted to come, as it was alluded to, but it was vetoed by our eastern friend. Anyway, that is a little political issue we'll not be touching upon. But of course, Pakistan is member of IONS, which is a bigger forum, which is dealing with everything which is dealt under the IORA. So that is where we are looking after our interests. Another point which I would like to mention is that, as I was talking about, that about $27 trillion is plying at sea. After the collapse of USSR, that is the time when the economy of China was around 450 billion, and US economy was 6.5 trillion. So the difference was actually the comparison was 1:13. But as of now, the US has 27.5 and China is 17.6. So there is 1.5 times difference now. So this is the economic term which has created a contestation at sea. The choke points are getting hot. The flow of trade at sea, because if East is the engine which is producing the industrial goods, the West is the consumer. So from where it has to go to the Indian Ocean. So to plug this area, the hotspot like Strait of Malacca, Strait of Bab el-Mandab, as well as Strait of Hormuz, plus along the coast of Africa, the piracy is taking place. It has resurgence again. So that should give you an idea that what is happening in our area. But having said that, it doesn't say that by 2028 or by 2029, that is the IMF estimates, that China economy will cross the United States economy. This is one factor. But becoming a superpower which is equal to United States of America, it will take very, very long time. At the moment, US has about 20 plus carriers. To maintain one carrier, aircraft carrier, you need about $10 billion. That is for fabrication, and $1 billion each year you have to use for that. Plus they have about close to 100 SSN and SSBNs, which is one submarine costs about 3.5 billion. So the infrastructure is such a huge, plus US has over 800 bases abroad all around the globe. So that is the reason the Xi Jinping in his last address to CPC in 2022, he had said that China will become a superpower with its military equitable, that is 2049. So that is an environment, that means that we are into an environment in which there is a transition going on. So our diplomacy will have to work out to have our national interests prime. That means to work out with all the players which are working in the maritime domain. We should not go for the block politics. We already had a lot of problems, and this is where I think we should be looking forward to. While I was going through the Gentropolis book, because he had written this book, in fact, the first idea of sustainability started in 1972. That was a Stockholm Declaration. After that, then in 1994, that is Kyoto Protocol, and that is the time when Gentropoli, he had coined this term of blue economy. And he wrote his first book in 2005. Second is Blue Economy 2.0. Third is 100 Diapers. Very strange name. Because what he says, that over 40 years I have invested into decision makers, politicians, academicians, but my experience is the mindset has not changed. So to change the mindset, now he said that we have to invest into the young people, the kids. And that's what he has started off now. And I'm glad that future of Pakistan is sitting here. You have heard a lot of things, but this is to agitate your mind. This is a start point, and I'm sure you will take along a lot of lessons from here, which will help you in making your studies, your research in these areas. And I can assure you, all those who are sitting here, including myself and my institution, National Institute of Maritime Affairs, is available to anybody who wants to do the research in those particular topics. So two things more he is talking about. One is think global and act personal. That means you understand the responsibility of your actions which are creating a global problem. So until unless we don't understand this, there is a problem. So big problems have a solution which starts from us. So all those things which we have to adopt, we should, at our homes, with our kids, at our college, at our schools. I can give you the last World Environment Day, last to last I believe, Senator Sherry Rahman Sahiba was there, and we had proposed certain things, how to do the adaptation of, the topic was how to say no to single-use plastic. Because this is the biggest curse which is going towards sea. So there was a committee made. Commodore Bawar Bilal was heading that. So they made a very sound proposals which have been at the moment sent to the HEC also. And it has been implemented in Bahria University. You will not find plastic bottles there now. They are using the non-disposable bottles. Everything which is being used in the university is non-disposable, single use, no single use in the university. I think this is something we can start at our end. We have to, and I can recommend to Minhaj University the study which, sir, you have carried out, do share with them, and you can come and have talk to them also. Secondly, he was talking about to think big. That means if you are pitched against the elephant and you are mouse, if your thinking process is to defeat an elephant, you will defeat. But if you have a defeated strategy, that will not come to terms. So in certain areas, I think we approach with a defeated mind, as if Pakistan is a gone story and cannot do anything. I really appreciate some of the panelists, those who are here. They give a ray of hope. Madam Barrister who was here, she talked about, even if we have a less time for ship recycling industry, she said we should take a start and you should contest at the international forums. And plus, there was another good point taken too, that whatever is available in the legal framework, that should be tailored according to our culture, our society, so that we have a sense of inclusiveness, so that community takes the onus. One of the big issue, I think, is community has been taken out of all this calculus. Whatever policies, everything is being made, the community is not part of it. Until and unless we don't do that, I think success will remain a far cry. Another thing which he talks about, I think which we should be careful about, that is analysis leading to paralysis. He says too much analysis of certain things at times give you or reach to a conclusion where the hopelessness starts. So what he says, go simple. Chalk out the boundaries which nature has already given you. Do not tamper with the nature. What nature has taught you, do not overturn by using the technologies. A simple example, what he said, if the whale can communicate with its family 3,000 kilometers away at sea without giving any problem to the sea, then why we are going into 5G, which has a lot of negativity in terms of our environment? So these kind of innovative solutions we require definitely, and I am pretty hopeful that today's discourse and recommendation, whatever will come to front, that will give us a leading light that we should adopt, and we should go ahead unplugging the potential of our blue economy, which has been enshrined into National Security Policy 2022, which says that the national security is your national economy. And if national economy is your security, then maritime economy is integral part of this economy. So when we need to understand this, make the policies, and get going on this. So towards the end, I am indeed thankful to Minhaj University, all the organizers, and I'm indeed more thankful for awarding me for something, a title which I consider that a lot of other have done a good job, but that gives me a more responsible behavior now, especially in terms of giving my contribution towards the establishment of blue economy, the policies which we need. Just pray that Allah Almighty gives us strength and wisdom to understand what a real gift has been given to us in the form of an extended sea. And we are able to make the policies, and we are able to reap the benefit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your inspiring concluding remarks. Yes, the hope should not die. And this is what we are discussing here. And with that, we move on to our next session, that is the last session of today's conference. And after all the speeches, discussion, deliberations, the way forward will be presented to you. Dr. Muhammad Ishfaq, Director, Center of Research and Innovation in Maritime Affairs at Minhaj University, Lahore, is requested to come on podium and present the conference declaration. Dr. Muhammad Ishfaq.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Good afternoon and assalamu alaikum. I warmly congratulate the esteemed Deputy Chairman, Board of Governors, Professor Dr. Hussain Muhyiddin Qadiri, Vice Chancellor, Minhaj University, Lahore, Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shahzad, foreign and national guests on the success of Second International Maritime Conference on the title of Sea of Opportunity, Enhancing Maritime Transportation and Global Connectivity. I would like to extend my gratitude to all esteemed participants, keynote speakers, scholars, and experts from renowned national and international institutions who have joined this conference. Your presence and active engagement have enhanced our discussions and contributed to a deeper understanding of opportunities and challenges facing out at sea. Briefly and comprehensively, I will read out the conference declaration. The significant discussions have been conducted on three basic ideas, which are green shipping, sustainable ports, and global connectivity through corridors. Stats are alarming, as Pakistan earns 0.4% of its GDP from blue economic resources, while Thailand, if we compare it with Thailand, then Thailand earns 18% of its GDP. It is quite remarkable and differentiated. Therefore, a potential investment is required from national and international investors through foreign direct investment to develop maritime transportation and ports infrastructure. For that purpose, government needs to play its own crucial role to mobilize investments in maritime sector, launch investor-friendly policies, and importantly, sustainability in governance and well-researched policies to keep the confidence of the investors, in which the Pakistan is lacking at the moment, because the international investors are not confident to invest in the economy of Pakistan anymore. But the core challenge for the maritime sector is that the local investors are not aware to invest in maritime assets. To create awareness, CRIMA at Minhaj University, Lahore is playing its important role to create awareness. Today's conference and even the establishment of CRIMA in the heart of Lahore are one of the efforts for economic development and well-being of humanity. Therefore, there were many recommendations were proposed, and one of them that many of the speakers have spoke about it, that the dedicated educational institutions and capacity building programs are required at national and international at national level that could look comprehensively at maritime affairs and marine sciences. Establishment of specialized institutions would address the issue of efficient human resource, which would ensure the port's sustainability. To address environmental challenges, government and investors should prioritize their green investments in maritime sector through the adoption of advanced technologies and use of renewable energy resources are suggested. Pakistan needs to replace older vessels with the advanced one to meet the stringent requirements of International Maritime Organization. And port sustainability can also be ensured through the implementation of these international laws. Safe and secured corridors should have been ensured by international organizations, which is lacking due to ongoing crises in the world. These crises are raising concerns on the part of ultimate consumers and countries, as ships would have to travel 1,000 kilometers additionally. From this forum, we urge international organizations to resolve these ongoing crises to ensure safe and secure corridors. This declaration confirms our collective will to address the challenges of sea blindness through awareness to explore maritime investments, sustainable governance to enhance green shipping through the adoption of cutting-edge technology, engineering and technologies, and workforce upskilling and reskilling in response to automation and digitalization to maintain ports' efficiency through capacity building initiatives. Furthermore, fostering partnerships between government agencies, private sector actors, and civil society organizations can facilitate knowledge sharing, innovation, and resource mobilization. More particularly, Pakistan and Turkey needs to collaborate on maritime transportation. This way, Pakistan will have the opportunity to learn from the vast Turkish experience and expertise in this domain. Pakistan and Iran need to collaborate to develop the adjacent Chabahar and Gwadar port, which will lift the local communities out of poverty and turn the area into the maritime attraction. Learning from the Singapore, and we need to come up our own perspective of international law, one that fits to the needs of the Pakistanis, particularly the coastal communities. Last but not the least, we need to transform our transportation systems from road-dependent to railways and ships-dependent economy to produce cost-effective products and to compete in the global markets. This conference belongs to the whole maritime sector. So I would like to congratulate entire maritime industry and academia on the successful conduct of Second International Maritime Conference. CREMA has truly won the hearts by successfully providing a platform for the maritime experts. This is the first time that almost all the maritime experts, professionals, representatives from the industry, and academicians are sitting together under one roof and discuss the prospects of maritime future. This shows that the academia and academicians have capacity to lead the maritime sector, and it is not possible to succeed without the academia for maritime industry, without joining hands with the academia. So it is the time to join hands to develop this sector, which is the need of the hour. I would congratulate Vice Admiral Ahmed Saeed for receiving Lifetime Achievement Award, and in the end, I'll take the opportunity to extend my gratitude to the heartiest greetings to the mind behind this conference and patron of this research center, Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shahzad, Vice Chancellor Minhaj University Lahore, Chief Organizer of this conference, Dr. Khurram Shahzad, for his leadership support, all the conveners and members of the organizing committees, conference secretariat, IT team, social media and marketing team, volunteers, students, staff, and all the sponsors of this conference, that without their support, this conference would not have been possible. Once again, I'm deeply grateful to our sponsors and collaborators. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad Ishfaq, Director, Center of Research and Innovation in Maritime Affairs. Before moving on to our last part of our conference, let me request Professor Dr. Hussain Murshideen Qadri and Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shehzad to please come forward and present souvenirs to our speakers and some other special guests who have joined us today for the conference. So please come forward. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to request Vice Admiral Ahmed Saeed Hilal Imtiaz Military, sir, please come forward and receive your souvenir for your very productive contribution in this conference. Thank you for being with us. And thank you so much for your some very practical suggestion to improve the maritime sector. The next souvenir is, okay. Now, Vice Admiral Ahmed Saeed, he is presenting souvenir to Professor Dr. Hussain Murshideen Qadri on the behalf of NEMA. Thank you. So NEMA is a sister center to us that is also working for the maritime affairs in Pakistan. Thank you. Thank you for this token of gratitude. There is one more shield that is presented to Professor Dr. Hussain Murshideen Qadri on the behalf of National Institute of Maritime Affairs, Islamabad. The next award is, all right. So the next is presented to Dr. Vakasya, Assistant Director, Karima. Well, the next souvenir is presented to Dr. Usma by National Institute of Maritime Affairs. Now, Dr. Muhammad Ishfaq, Director, Center of Research and Innovation in Maritime Affairs, please receive the token of appreciation from our sister center, National Institute of Maritime Affairs. Now, our research associate. Okay, the next, Dr. Khurram Shehzad, Registrar, Minhaj University, Lahore. He's been presented with the souvenir by National Institute of Maritime Affairs. Thank you, Dr. Khurram, for always being there, for organizing different functions for us and guiding us. Now, the next souvenir is presented to... No, this is not the one. No. Okay. This is presented to the representative of Fairdeal Marketing to appreciate their contribution to our event, Mr. Ijaz Ahmed and Muhammad Salim Zia. Please come forward and receive this token of appreciation and gratitude. Thank you. The next souvenir is presented to Anqing Normal University, China, for being the co-host of today's conference. And on the behalf of university, Dr. Wasik Ikram is requested to please the other one, universities, the round one, no, the round one. On the behalf of Anqing Normal University, China, Dr. Wasik Ikram is receiving the souvenir. Thank you for being the co-host of today's conference. Now, Dr. Wasik Ikram is again requested to please come back for another shield that is awarded to you for your productive contribution in holding this conference. Dr. Wasik Ikram. Now, the next souvenir is presented to Dr. Waqasia Naeem for conducting this conference. So I'm coming again. Now, I would like to request Commodore Amjad Zaman to please come forward and receive your souvenir. Thank you, sir, for joining us today for this conference. And we have learned a lot from your expertise, from your comments during the panel discussion. Next, the Commodore Suhail Ahmed, you are please requested to come forward and receive the souvenir. Thank you, sir, for being with us. It's a pleasure to host you. Mr. Fahim from Navy League, please, sir, come forward and receive a token of appreciation for always being here and contributing to our programs. Thank you. We are very happy to have supportive friends who are always there to discuss the maritime affairs. The next is Lieutenant Muhammad Talha Masood from Pakistan Navy War College. So please come forward and receive the souvenir for being with us today. And lastly, Dr. Muhammad Ishfaq, Director Karima, so please come forward and receive the shield for your efforts to conduct this conference. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, we are done with the award distribution. Now for the Ikhtatami Dua, our concluding prayer, I would like to request Professor Azmi to please come forward. Please come on the podium and do the concluding prayers.
Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim wa salli alayhi. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Allahumma nas'aluka al-huda wa at-tuqa wal afafa wal ghina. Allahumma nas'aluka ilman nafi'an wa amalan salihan, rizqan wasi'an wa halalan tayyiban wa shifaan min kulli da'in. ए अल्लाह तो अपने शुक्र करने वालों को और ज़्यादा अता करता है। अल्लाह हम तेरा शुक्र अदा करते हैं, तेरा लाखों बार शुक्र पाक परवरदिगार, इतना अच्छा प्रोग्राम करने की तौफीक अता फरमाई, एक बैनुल-अक़वामी कॉन्फ्रेंस मुनक़्क़द करने की कामयाबी से तौफीक अता फरमाई। या अल्लाह इसके पीछे शेखुल इस्लाम की दुआएं हैं, या अल्लाह उनका साया हमारे सरों पे सलामत रख। या अल्लाह मेहनत करने वाले और आइडिया पेश करने वाले और थरपरस्ती करने वाले जनाब प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर हुसैन महीउद्दीन कादरी साहब, जनाब प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर साजिद महमूद शहजाद साहब, नौजवान कायद जनाब खुर्रम शहजाद साहब और सारे अकाबरीन जितने मेहनत करने वाले जहाँ जहाँ मेहनत की, या अल्लाह सबको जज़ाए खैर अता फरमा। या अल्लाह में हाई यूनिवर्सिटी को दिन दुगनी रात चौगनी तरक्की अता फरमा। सल्लल्लाहु तआला अला खैर खल्की मुहम्मद व आलिहि व अस्हाबी अजमाइन बिरहमतिका या अरहमर राहिमीन। ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह। पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद। मिनहाज यूनिवर्सिटी पाइंदाबाद।
Thank you, Azmi Saab.